people who are from other parts of the world that really don't know what the reservation is like, and they only know based on whatever they've seen in the news or movies or things like that. And you have to realize that movies are entertainment, and that they really don't give um, a good view of the reservation. When they were making this movie Thunderheart, for those of you that know this movie, uh, they they were filming in this area called Wambly, South Dakota, and the film directors they were saying, "Hey, this place doesn't look destitute enough," they said. So they they brought in more old cars, the junk cars. They made it look worse than what it really was. So what you see in the movie is really not a correct view. Yeah, I mean it is really rugged on most reservations. They really have poverty, but uh, the media sometimes they overdo it, and sometimes that's all they focus on. And so you're left with the impression that the whole reservation is like that, but it isn't. It's a land of extremes. Um, as tribal workers are, they hold 10% of the income. So, when you see tribal workers, they always have new cars, they live in nice houses. 90% of the reservation lives in poverty, and it's really not good. And people are always saying that, when they run for council, they always say that they're going to um, establish what do you call it, an economy, create jobs and stuff, but they never do, because if they do, that means they lose a little bit of what they have. But there's beautiful things too. Yeah, there's like I said, there's everything is there. There are nice things happening. It's just that people need to talk about them more. Yeah, like some reservations have these programs that work with horses, where they take kids out in the country, and it's like a camp. They live in teepees and they learn some cultural information, and then they they can they learn how to ride horse. Yeah, it's really it's a nice thing. Um, the tribal councils do not support these things. Yeah, they don't support saving the language. So people have to do this on their own, yeah, or they have to write for funding, write for grants and stuff like that. Because I think that's really nice when using horses, because horses are really empathic. They know how people feel, and so the horses can actually be part of healing. Yeah, they can. A lot of kids on reservations that come from broken homes. There's too many people living in one under one roof, and so that's all creates all kinds of stress, and you know you have a house with 3 bedrooms and 1 living room, and so you have 4 families living there. Yeah, 1 family in each bedroom and 1 family in the living room, and then there's you know just imagine all the stress that's going to happen in a situation like that. And the kids, all having to share the same toilet, and all it's horrible, but that's how it is, and and so that creates, really unhealthy emotional foundation because they're not getting healthy parenting, and as a result, they learn to talk back to their parents or mother, because usually it's just a mom. Um, then and they'll and then the moms don't really care, because they're doing things too, and bad things, drugs and stuff like that. And so the kid sees this, and that's all the kid sees. Yeah, and it's not a good way to program a child. Yeah? So I think it's nice when an organization can do something like a horsemanship program or something like that, and take these kids out, for, during the summertime. Yeah, take them out and to the country, get them away from video things, and because it's getting harder. Yeah, it's getting harder to do that to young people. Young people today are really just attracted to computer games, and for those that have them, smartphones, and all that kind of thing. And it's that's more appealing to them than to go out in nature and ride a horse, and learn how to care for a horse, and kind of like tuning in, like becoming a partner with the horse, and it's a challenge, to get kids to go out into the country today, because they're different than from my generation. From my generation, it was no big deal. Huh? We looked forward to summer camp. Go out in the country, and YMCA had a summer camp, and so we'd out there for 7 days, I think it was. And it was fun, yeah. And canoeing, fishing, doing arts and crafts, and there's time to play games, and the evening times are really cool because they always picked counselors who had traditional backgrounds, so they would tell stories and things like that. Somebody would have a radio, yeah. So they'd be really late in the night to listen to the radio. So the whole tent would be singing along, yeah. We're talking about 1974 here, yeah. So one of the tent I was in, I think 1974. I'm about 12 years old in the summertime, yeah. So no, must have been before that, 73, 72, somewhere around that. And there was this song called "Beautiful." It's so nice to be with you, yeah. And it was by a group called Gallery. Monia, remember that song? She's a good friend of mine from France, and that song it's really a catchy tune, yeah. So there we were, all us 10 to 12-year-old boys, and singing that song. Yeah. Oh, it's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say and do. And how does it? I don't even remember how the song goes. It's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say and do. And if geez, I forgot the words. But we're all singing that. Bunch of guys saying that to each other. Yeah, it's so nice to be with. Gee, what kind of camp was that anyway? Oh my gosh. It was fun. Yeah. Fun times, yeah, out in the country like that. Those are good memories, yeah. I really like those times. I'm really glad I grew up during that time period. We were in nature and it was nice, yeah. And sometimes there's problems, but that's just how life is. Yeah, even when you're a kid, there's gonna be conflicts. But there's older people there to keep law in order and stuff like that. So it's still my overall memories of camp were very good. Yeah, very good. The camp counselors, I never really knew who they were. I mean, they're Indian guys, but they must have been from Eagle Butte or something. There was this one guy, and everybody called him Crockett. Yeah, and he was. You see, I was just like 12 years old, something like that. So this Crockett must have been 18 or so. And one thing I noticed was like, gee, this is a cool guy. Yeah, because you're young, young guys. You always look up to the older boys, and see, they're cool. Yeah, so you want to be like that too. Yeah? Start walking cool and crazy things like that. And he was really a nice guy. Yeah, this Crockett. I remember that, and he would always. It seemed like he looked out for kids that were, feeling left out. Yeah. So he would come up and befriend them, and he would make you feel wanted. Yeah. And he would set the situation where to make it fair for all boys. Yeah. For all the kids. It wasn't just a boys' camp. It was girls there too. And some nights, I mean, like one night, the counselors will it's divided up into little boys, little girls, big boys, big girls. Yeah, so there's four main groups at the camp. And on one evening, they'll take the little boys and the little girls out on a camping trip away from the camp. See, it is by a big river. Yeah, it was called the Missouri River or Oahe Reservoir. Back in the 70s, it was really huge. Yeah, man. It was like, yeah, there was lots of water, and it was fun. So this one evening, all the boys take off in one direction. Yeah, everybody's going to cross the river. They're going to go on the other side. So we're all getting in canoes and boats. And by this time, the older counselors have taught us how to use a canoe. Yeah, they told us what to do if the canoe tips over. All these kind of things. So we headed out. Yeah, so the guy counselors and the little boys headed in one direction, and the girl counselors and the little girls went in the other direction. And so, we went on. We both went across the river, but in opposite directions. Yeah, because it was a bend. The water, like it had a bend, and so we're still on opposite sides of each other, even though technically we're on the same side, but there was a bend in the river, so it's still like you're on the other side of the river somehow. Yeah, from the girls. Gee, that was nice. Yeah, we were. The older boys they had everything ready. We baked potatoes, corn right by the fire. We roasted hot dogs, and made s'mores, and oh, it was wonderful. Yeah, we really ate good way out in there, and sitting around this fire, and then they would tell ghost stories. Yeah, and gee, that was rugged. At the same time, there's these coyotes that are walking around. You can see their eyes, light up and reflecting the fire. Shit, that was freaky. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Then we'd have shouting matches, yeah, with the girls on the other side of the river. So, hey, Bertha, Johnny likes you. Hey. Preteen adolescents here. And then they'd fire back and say, tell Johnny to go to hell. It's just funny, just getting people in trouble and saying things like that. Then we get tired and then we'd crash. Yeah, we have our sleeping bags and we hit the hay. And there was always a guy, one of the guys, he would stay up all night, yeah, to make sure everything was cool, yeah, so no coyotes get too close and things like that. So, and then, he would take us, like I said, there's several counselors, so then they would watch over us, and then next morning get up, as soon as the sun came up, got up. This is cold, yeah. This is summertime, yeah, July, and boy, it was cold because you're right by the water. And then we got up and we rolled up our sleeping bags, and they gave us like a dry breakfast, like boxes of cereal. It's those kind of boxes. They're little tiny boxes. So you cut open the top, the side, and then you fold the flaps back, and it's like an instant bowl. And they have these in America. Maybe they do here too. I haven't seen them though. Not in Germany anyway. So they just pour a little bit of milk in there, and then you eat it like that. And then we got some bananas and some bottles of juice. That was our breakfast, and we got everything in the boats and the canoes and headed back to the main camp. Yeah. Boy, that was an adventure. And then the next evening, it's the big boys that go off with the counselors, and the big girls, would go off with the counselors, and the little guys would stay at the main camp with the older adult counselors, and then would still do games and stuff like that. So it was really nice, yeah. And fishing, and then the last night of YMCA camp was they had Olympics, yeah, and they're really crazy Olympics too. Like, see who could get the most muddiest, yeah, who could get the muddiest. Like, who's the slowest one in the race? Yeah, so we come running down a hill, and the winner is the slowest one. Yeah. So you have people running really slow motion, and guys really had fun like that. It's just crazy. And I remember this one time too. There's a road that goes around the camp. The camp is down by the river, but behind the camp are these high hills. It's a really good weather break. Yeah. There's a road that goes out on one side of the camp, and there's another one that goes out on the opposite side of the camp. And over the hills, these two roads merge into one road. So you could take a walk on that road like that, yeah. And so one night they were having a spook walk, yeah. And I don't mean that in a racist way, because and for some people, the word spook is a racist term describing black people, and I don't mean it like that. I mean as in ghost, yeah, spooky, like that. They called it a spook night or a spook walk, and we didn't know that was a racist term against black people. Yeah, we didn't know that because we're from the res and we're far from the cities, so we don't know those kind of things. Anyway, it's pitch black, no moonlight, pitch black. So everybody has to walk together, and then, and then in the distance you hear somebody moaning. Yes, says, "Oh shit, walk fast!" And here one of the little guys, he got too scared. Yeah, he started to cry, and he did the weirdest thing I ever seen. He ran towards the sound. Yeah. This sound was making a moan, low moaning voice. He started crying and he ran towards the sound and he started swinging. Yeah, he was read. And the guy was like 9 years old. Yeah, and all of a sudden you heard, oh, boom, fell on the ground. So the counselor said, "Oh shit!" They all went over there. See, the counselors knew, yeah, that they were selling this. It's like a haunted house, a carnival ride, yeah, as a amusement kind of ride. It's just that it was done outside. This was one of the one of the camp counselors that was, he had a big rug over himself. He was doing that, and this young guy, what he did was he ran into this guy with his head down, and so he hit the counselor smack dab in the cojones. Yeah. The counselor was laying on the ground, really holding his crotch. Oh man, oh no. So then the counselors turned on their flashlights. We didn't even know they had flashlights. Yeah. They turned on their flashlights and they said, "Are you all right? Where did he hit you?" They, "I'm not gonna say." He said. So they had to carry him back, and we realized what happened. We were all just laughing, coming back. Yeah, and the little guy who hit him, his name was Kenny. Kenny was, that's not funny, man. He kept saying. Ay, shit, that was the talk of the whole camp, yeah, for the rest of the stay. It's really funny memories like that. And one time, and before Chowline, see, it's a kind of it's a camp that it's kind of a little bit kind of Christian, yeah, because it's YMCA. YMCA stands for Young Men's Christian Association, but it's for everybody. On the reservation, it was for everybody. In the cities, there's also a YWCA, yeah, Young Women's Christian Organization. But on a reservation, they wanted to keep it simple and just have one and have that for everybody. So they would just say YMCA instead of saying Young Men. They would just use the letters. Yeah. So they would have a prayer before the meal, and we would sing a church song. Yeah, before we start eating. And they told us, before that whoever sings the loudest is going to be the first in line because they're trying to encourage us to sing. Yeah, nobody wanted to sing loud. Here, one of our friends, his name was Humphrey. Jeez, that guy was belting it out. Yeah. Just loud in his little high-pitched voice. Onward, Christian soldiers. Everybody was looking at Hump. That's what we called him, yeah, nickname Hump. Everybody was looking at Hump and they was like, "What's wrong with this guy?" They got done singing and he was all proud, yeah. So they moved him to the first in line. Jeez, Hump, where did you learn how to sing that song? Catholic school, he said. Shit. That guy was a good guy, yeah, Humphrey. He was really a good kid. Good adult, too. We were childhood friends, and we became adults and just went separate ways. I never seen him after that. So I don't know what he's doing. I know he's married now, has kids, good family. Yeah, he's really had a good family. The last I saw him, he was really doing good. So I'm happy for him. But as little boys, gee, that guy was funny. Huh? Shit. Oh man. Anyway, cool memories. See, this is fun. See here, I'm older now, and I could sit here and look back and and remember all those crazy times that we had at camp. The camp was way out in the country. Yeah, there was only one light, a security light. Everything else was done with lamps and candles. No plumbing. Yeah, so you had to the toilets were the outdoor kind of toilets. Yeah, so they told you always take somebody with you. Yeah, take a partner with you, and because in case snake goes by or whatever. See, we were way out in the country. Yeah, but there was nothing scary because we're used to that. Yeah, and they would get water from the river and then they would boil it, and then that's every tent every evening a tent would be the one they would alternate in washing the dishes, kind of thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Just remembering those other things that we did are just funny. Yeah? Really funny. But it's nice. Yeah, see, this is medicine. This is medicine. When you're sitting there and you're thinking back on, things that you did when you were a little kid. If you're older, if you're in your 40s and 50s, 30s, yeah, and you think back, what 30s does that qualify? 30s does that qualify? Because let's see, people who are 30 years old right now, can they really? Do they really have a past like that? What do you think, Monia? Maybe, yeah, maybe, but maybe not too, because I think some computers were already in, yeah, because I know internet came around in the 1990s. I know that MTV was a big thing. Video games were a big thing already in the 90s and even in the 80s. So I don't really know if people who are in their 30s can talk like us guys concerning the past. Being out in nature, yeah, and doing things and running and riding horses and swimming and fishing and going boating and canoeing and camping and all these cool things like that. Going using the bathroom out in nature, yeah, kind of thing. And like I said, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about these things, and it just really just making me laugh here, yeah, because some of the crazy things that we did, and it's really, really goofy. Yeah, this is fun times, yeah. So you think back about that, and it's medicine. And see, I'm feeling good again, yeah. I'm reliving this stuff, and it's medicating me in a natural way. It's nice. And what are today's teenagers going to talk about? Yeah. What are today's teenagers, especially the ones in the cities? Yeah. What are they going to talk about? Remember that time I sent you that one smiley and I texted you? Oh yeah. Hey. What kind of memory is that? Huh? So I think this is it's sad that people are not connecting to nature like people from my generation and people who are in their 40s. That We grew up in the country. We're real. We are real people, yeah. And we don't get in the hissy fit when when our coffee's too hot or whatever. It's for us. It's like it's not the end of the world. You know, um, somebody goes to Starbucks and orders whatever kind of nonsense coffee they serve there, and they get in a hissy fit because it doesn't have the cream in there that they wanted, and this is not lactose free. I already can feel the gajos forming. Gajos diarrhea, in case you didn't know. um, and it's the end of the world for them. Yeah. But for people like us, it's like, what kind of nonsense is that anyway? Yeah, just put some coffee grinds in a metal coffee pot. Put some water in there. Put that over the fire and have some real coffee. Yeah, cowboy coffee. Shoot. Anyway, but we connected to nature. Yeah, even when we didn't realize that we weren't going around hugging trees and stuff like that. But the fact that we were participating, doing something out in nature. We didn't realize it, but we were connecting to nature. Yeah, just walking around, swimming, fishing, just riding bikes or whatever. Climbing trees is another thing I used to really like to do. And we're all we feel that we feel the grass under our feet. We feel the trees with our hands. And, we don't realize these things are alive because we're just kids, yeah? But there's something happening. It's connecting to us. We're connecting to it. Yeah? And so it's nice, yeah, when you think about that. And so that's why I really like the neighborhood where I'm at. I mean, I'm in the city, but there's a little park, yeah, all around me. So no matter where I go, I have to go through the park. It's nice. Yeah, one direction. And I go north to the post office. I'm going through a park there. I'm going south to the shopping center. And I'm going still in the park because it's going north to south. Yeah, so it's really nice. I love that. So I do appreciate the experiences I've had in as a child, being out in nature and all the fun things that we did, and even the not fun things. I mean, sometimes we got into fights. There's always an asshole kid out there and it causes trouble and tries to do something, so you have to go chase him down and smack the shit out of him so he won't do that to anybody else. And sometimes you have to do things like that. Oh my. I hate those kind of kids. Yeah, there was one in the neighborhood and that guy was just from a distance he's always just a troublemaker and half, but as soon as you get up to his face and he either tries to be really friendly or he runs off telling his parents, "He hit me." Didn't even touch him. Yeah. So those kind of kids, there's always kids like that. That's what makes life interesting. Yeah. The difficulty. Anywho, so it's good that there are people who, from my generation, who still live in the nature. Yeah. I'm getting to know a really nice gal from Norway. Her name is Anne Helen. And she was writing to me, describing where she lived. And gee, I could just picture it, yeah. The way she described it, I was picturing it in my mind. Is like, gee, you live in a nice place. Yeah. And I've never even seen it. Yeah. But it's the way she described it. it just shows to me that she's really connected to the land. Yeah, that she's really connected to her horses and nature, so she can describe it really good. Yeah, and English is not her first language, but she describes it really good. Made me wanna go on holiday. Yeah. Anyway, that's nice. Yeah, it is a nice thing. So that's why I like where I live. There's a lot of nature where I live, even though I am in a city. There is a lot of nature, lots of trees and so forth. It's not too populated in this area. It's cool.